The one difficult thing every rich person does to create wealth. I remember when I was in college, most of my mates were buying expensive phones, shoes and clothes. As for me, books, seminars and my financial education was the only thing that mattered to me. A few years after when I went to the business world, the first 8 years were years of no profit. And even the few years after then were years of reinvestment. For over a decade, all I did was to build business and reinvest everything. I mean everything. That's called delay gratification. You see, one difficult thing everyone who has to ever build wealth did to build wealth is to delay gratification. If you want to know how difficult that is, look at the community where you are living. See the cars, phones and clothes people around you are using and compare that to their income. You'll be surprised that 98% of people are living their lives in today. They will rather buy that new car of $20,000 now than to buy a used car and invest some cash. They would rather buy the latest iPhone and meet up with their poor peers than to use an average phone. Let the truth be told, it's difficult to delay gratification. But without the ability to delay gratification, you cannot be rich. In the 1960s, a Stanford professor named Walter Mischel began conducting a series of important psychological studies. During his experiments, Mischel and his team tested hundreds of children, most of them around the ages of 4 and 5 years old, and revealed what is now believed to be one of the most important characteristics for success in health, work and life. The experiment began by bringing each child into a private room, sitting them down in a chair and placing a marshmallow on the table in front of them. At this point, the researcher offered a deal to the child. The researcher told the child that he was going to leave the room and that if the child did not eat the marshmallow while he was away, then they would be rewarded with a second marshmallow. However, if the child decided to eat the first one before the researcher came back, then they will not get a second marshmallow. So the choice was simple: one treat right now or 2 treats later. The researcher left the room for 15 minutes. As you can imagine, the footage of the children waiting alone in the room was rather entertaining. Some kids jumped up and ate the first marshmallow as soon as the researcher closed the door. Others wiggled and bounced and scooted in their chairs as they tried to restrain themselves, but eventually gave in to temptation a few minutes later. And finally, a few of the children did manage to wait the entire time. Published in 1972, this popular study became known as the marshmallow experiment. But it wasn't the treat that made it famous. The interesting part came years later. The power of delayed gratification. As the years rolled on and the children grew up, the researchers conducted follow-up studies and tracked each child's progress in a number of areas. What they found was surprising. The children who were willing to delay gratification and waited to receive the second marshmallow ended up having higher SAT scores, lower levels of substance abuse, lower likelihood of obesity, better responses to stress, better social skills as reported by their parents, and generally better scores in a range of other life measures. The researchers followed each child for more than 40 years, and over again, the group who waited patiently for the second marshmallow succeeds in whatever capacity they were measuring. In other words, this series of experiments proved that the ability to delay gratification was critical for success in life. But we actually don't need a scientific research to know this. We all know that if you can discipline yourself not to eat the corn you have now, you can plant it and have hundreds of corns in the next few weeks. We all know that as a student, if you can discipline yourself not to waste time on campus pleasures, you can have more time to read and end up being a better student. As young adults, we all know that if we could delay buying those latest phones, cars and watches, we can invest some of those cash into something else that can make us richer in the future. We all know the importance of delaying gratification. The only problem is that it's not easy to do what we know we ought to do. However, though it's difficult, successful people discipline themselves to delay gratification. So, how can you delay gratification so that you become rich? Let me share 3 simple tips that have helped me with you. First, set inspiring goals. I had started setting goals since I was around 16 and my life has never been the same. Because I had a goal of being the best student while I was in high school, I forgo the TV, movies and excessive playing. Similar thing at the college and when I started out in the business world. Because goals is about tomorrow, people who set inspiring goals can easily forget today and delay gratification for tomorrow. Second, don't compare yourself with others. This is a big problem in our society today, especially because of the social media. Most people simply compare what they have with what others have. If you choose to live this way, you'll always be under pressure to buy, use or do whatever everyone else is buying, doing or using, which will not allow you to delay gratification. Third, read books that will improve your self-esteem. In my experience, people with healthy self-worth can easily forget today because of tomorrow, because these people know that they are wonderful people no matter what. You see, the reason why we want to eat our cakes right now is usually because we think that the cake will make us better individuals. Think about millions of people all over the world who borrow money to buy cars they cannot afford. Why do they do it? Look at the people who must buy every latest iPhone even though they don't have the money. Why do they do it? It's always because these people believe that buying those things will improve their image among their peers and family. This is because they have low self-esteem. People with healthy self-esteem know that they're worth much regardless of what they have or use today. In summary, people who end up becoming rich are people who can delay gratification. You must be willing to forget today. You must be willing to let go some things. It may be TV, the party, the latest iPhone, the car or the watches. You must forget today and invest in tomorrow if you truly want to be rich. Thank you for watching our videos. We'd like to give you another interesting video for you to enjoy next. But before then, our team will be very happy if you can like this video and share it with your friends on social media. If you're new here, don't forget to subscribe so you won't miss other interesting videos like this. Look at your screen now to see 2 other videos we handpicked for you to enjoy next. We love you.